Welcome back. It's Shay Seeking, and this is going to be number 5 of the. I believe it's going to be labeled something like "Does God love the world but hate the earth?" Meaning the Aboriginal peoples of America, or Aboriginal peoples, but we're in America, so that's what we're talking about. So we went in heavy. Number 1, 2, and 3 were just kind of getting up to what we wanted to talk about. Number 4 really went in, and we ended up going in all different types of uh, directions, so you can kind of see where I'm coming from throughout this whole like channel. Okay, the livelihood of the whole channel. Okay, because I kind of side speak a lot of times when I'm reading. Um, it's not. Um, I hope that people are able to be in tune with the way that I'm doing it. Um, because again, it's the only way that I know how to do it. Okay, thus far. Okay, so again, there was a couple of things on that number 4, and a couple of things that I just wanted to reiterate before we go any further. Again, we didn't even get to the real meat and potatoes of what I wanted to talk to you about, so we're going to go ahead and do that now, and we're going to go ahead into a couple of things that we talked about in the other video. So when it comes to um, in him the last discovered of the great primitive stock. So when we're talking about great primitive stock, we went ahead and looked into what primitive means. And then we went ahead and looked at the fourth day. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about the fact that the fourth day, this is the only thing that happened in the fourth day. This was just the opening. This is like the pre something of the fourth day. It's still continuing on once you go into the Bible. This is just like a recap or a quick main idea for what was going on in the time. Okay. So again, when we're talking about the 1400s, are we in the fourth day? Okay. Because on this channel, we don't believe that the Bible is as old as they say it is. And we may not be talking about ancient times. We may not be talking about how long you think we're talking about when it comes to the stories and the text. Okay. So right here, we were talking about primitive stock in that book. Okay. So then, you know, I told you guys earlier when we were reading, okay, so this is really funny here, that I think that when we're talking about the dry land, that we're talking about the Aborigines that did not want to mix with other foreigners. I won't even say races because I think they just didn't want to mix with foreigners. Remember, foreigners came here to reign on the earth, meaning the Aboriginal people from jump, okay? And we're talking about this in Genesis 2. So when you're talking about let the waters under the sky, okay? So this okay. So if we're talking about the sky, then we're talking about the house of God, possibly, or your government or the heavens. This is where they reside. Where we can look at it as this. We're talking about the caste system. This is where they reside. These are the pillars that they use in order to control these people. So I'll make it simple. When we're talking about the gods, we're talking about the government and those bloodlines and those families that think that they have all the money, the riches, and the powers that they've actually just stolen and tricked and misused people in order to get. And they've used these social constructs in order to imprison the minds, body, and spirit of the actual people. Okay. So in this thing we have, and I'm going to reiterate something else from what we talked about. We have the Brahmin. This is the one that I know how to pronounce. The priest, the academics. So we're talking about your church and your school. Then you have the Kshatriya, okay, the warriors and the kings. So here you go with the puppets that they put in the White House, okay, that don't really have any real pull. They're just the showmen to keep you entertained, right? And then the warriors. The warriors are their militaries, okay, or the forces, okay? They needed these things in order to put something up above them for God or a house of God. Because when you look up the term heaven, I believe in etymology, it just says the house of God, okay? So again, when we're looking at this too, you can look at it as your temple. You know what I'm saying? So now they're in the place thereof where you could be using your thinking, discernment, common sense, uh, mind that was naturally given to you. Okay, but they need control of that. Okay, so again, this is their stuff here. The merchants, okay? This is your businesses and your whatever, because you're consumers. They've made mega consumers out of you. Okay. And especially in the so-called black community, which are the really the probably the descendants or ascendants now of the aboriginals of America. You are some of the number one merchants. This is why the beauty industry is wrapped around you. This is why so many other things, right? Because they know what we like to do and how we spend our money. But we don't own anything. So we're big consumers, but we don't own anything, right? So then there's other landowners. So somebody has to own the land, things, or, land uh, owners, or you can even call them, what else can we call them? Let's see. Tradesmen, artisans, farmers, merchants. Okay, so those kind of people. Okay. And then you have, wait, let's go back. And then you have the Sudra, okay, which are the commoners, peasants, and servants. Again, they are still the servants of that construct. Let's see what else they call them here. The subordinate to Vish. Oh, okay, well, it's not really saying anything. Yeah, still the same thing. So even when we're talking about the artisans, the tradesmen, the farmers, the merchants, these are your celebrities. These are your marketplaces and your that are the farmers that are contaminating your food, the tradesmen, the merchants. And then when we're talking about also, I was thinking that we could be talking about like the land givers or the land owner, meaning like your judicial maybe even system in a sense. Okay. And then you have your the commoners, the peasants, and the servants. Those are the so-called poor whites. Those are your Native Americans. Those are your Mexicans. Those are your Puerto Ricans. Those are your other people. No, I won't even say Puerto Ricans. I won't say that. I won't say it. I will say, and I won't even say Mexicans, okay? I'll say those are your Native Americans, and those are your the people that may have come here, natives in general that were just born in a place, okay? I had to be kind of fair here, okay? Now, a large part of that could be also the offspring or the indigenous peoples reside somewhere within this area, okay, because they're there to serve a purpose, right? So they're there to convince everybody that this is where it is, these are the people. You don't have to worry about, if there were these people that are saying that what can I say, how can I say it? Okay, these are the people that are put in your position because they were either born of you or sprung from the earth, or they were no, I would say still that those people reside somewhere in between here for me. And then you have your outcasts or your aboriginals that have been removed or away or whatnot, and the people that are the earth. Okay, and that's why on your dollar bill, okay, we're gonna look at this, and then I want to look at this because here's your four things right here of this caste system. See, they try to play us by calling it slavery here and calling it a caste system over there. And then again, why don't they just go ahead and let us know that it's part of the same game? Okay. So I'm thinking that these remind me of the beast of the field in these corners. And then this reminds me of the uh, possible poor white man, because remember we got these branches Um, or we can even be talking about lawgivers or land, whatever, something too. Um, okay, so we could be talking about that when we're talking about this. And these guys, since they're put on high, and we have these portraits and stuff like we talked about in the other thing, and they're put on high, but they look like certain people, but are they those certain people? So again, then you have up here at the top. I don't know if this is Lincoln, possibly. I was telling you guys how much this dude looks like Lincoln. And then we have the fowl here. Okay, we have the fowl of the earth here. And he doesn't yet have these two things in his, well, the arrows or the bunches or the branches in his grips yet, but he's there, perching, coming, getting ready to swoop down, right? So these are your warriors in the kings. Do you see what I'm saying? This represents your academics in your the religious aspect of it. This must have something to do with the consumerism or being fruitful or, the farmers or whatever. This has something to do with possibly that. And this is the ones that are the street sweepers or the bottom of the barrel, the workers or whatnot. Again, so these are the heroes of the colored people here in the middle. But again, when we read that one book, they said that it was colored, the 20 and some odd colored people that came here in 1619 or 1620. It's either one. And I'm just trying to figure out. Again, I don't know. I don't know. Are these the Lord of Hosts? Because they're giving you the perception here that these are colored folk, which some of them could have been. And I think some of them could have been other races too. But it didn't have to do with, it has something to do with your color because the people here were of color. But, at the end of the day, it's about the classes, right? So let's see. The priests and academics. Right here. Okay. The merchants and the landowner. Goodness, if I could really just... The merchants and the landowners, I could say is possibly here. The warriors and the kings. Okay, so the head chief of staff and all these other people that work with the government or your presidency, the king, and the military. Okay, and then you have your common peasants or servants, which would represent these people. So what are we really saying? See, because these look like these hosts of the heavens that are going to be above the waters, that will be above the earth. You get what I'm saying? And then here's your waters that will be below the earth. Your foreigners. Waters, aliens, foreigners, immigrants, whatever you want to call them. You get what I'm trying to say? So you still have your whole symbolic form of the caste system. These are also people that was talking probably and trying to teach, or maybe they even really thought that they were doing this as a purpose, as to free somebody or help. But maybe they were actually, because they were dealing with these people that were playing them, maybe they made some mistakes. They could have did a little bit of a better job if they knew that they were being used. Okay, and that nobody was really ever going to do what they promised them that they would do. But again, this kind of looks like an Englishman here to me. That, I'm just calling it what it is. I'm just looking at phenotypes here. This gives me some kind of Asian, maybe even Maori. I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting like a oceanic island vibe, or even something else. I don't know, from Frederick Douglass, but this looks like a Frenchman to me. So then we can go ahead and look at. We can get rid of this one because I was done looking at that. I think. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm done with this one. I showed you about that in the other one. Okay, we'll get rid of this. And then let's look at this caste system. And let's look at the, also let's look at this dollar bill. I'm trying to figure out where I was at. Okay, so, mm, we can use, we can use this one. Okay, so, oh, and you know, it's another thing I'm just noticing about this too. So again, here's the earth and the herb yielding seed here. Here's your grass. You know what we're talking about? I have given you, where is he going to say it at? Livestock according to their kind. Okay, then God said, behold, I have given you every seed bearing plant on the face of the earth. Okay, so darkness was on the face of the deep, and now we on the face of the earth. And I was telling you guys that I think the dry land represents the indigenous or the aborigines that didn't want to mix. Okay, whether it was with their government or their government, with their gods, with their religion, with their schooling, with their indoctrination, whatever it was, okay, or with their amalgamation in their race, okay. So, okay, I have given you every seed bearing plant in the face of the earth and every tree whose fruit contains seeds, okay. So, um, they will be yours for food. And then if you look up what we'll go. And to every beast of the earth, and every bird of the air, and every creature that crawleth upon the earth, everything that has breath in of life. And again, he breathed into, right, and gave them breath of life. Now, see, we had the life taken out of us. That's what I'm saying. By giving them the life, and now you're dead and you're on the ground, or you're, underneath the thing. I just wonder sometimes. This is just I'm just talking out loud right now. And it was very good. Okay. So, oh, what? Really? Are you serious? Okay. You guys get the drift. Here's your thing here. And see, we're talking about the Freemasons, and we're also talking about, here's the eye of God or whatever. But it's almost like your third eye has been trapped in there. Um, uh, and this is the light, the light bearers, and the illuminating, and the, you know what I'm saying, that's going on in the mental space as well. Okay, the Son of God, these kind of things. Okay, and then you have your bricks here. These are, maybe this could be something about the Freemasons. Masonry is about building. Okay, and these are the building blocks. Now we think about the firmament as well, that they had to create before they were able to place the house of God there. Okay. And then you have this. I don't know what this means, but I want to look into my own. I've seen what other people think it means, but I want to see for myself, because now this is looking at that, like that last bottom thing where the laborers and stuff would be, and servants would be. Okay. And then here's the ground. Okay. So also when we're talking about goodness gracious, I think I lost my train of thought as to where we were talking about. Oh, see what I was saying too earlier about how the flourishing here, this is the flourishing here. Even you have a little bit here. You know what I'm saying? That's also, I think, on some money somewhere. And if it's not, it's definitely on the coat of arms of a lot of these different people that came here. And that's just saying that they've tied into. I think that this means that these people tied into these branches or whatever. They tied into and now they're able to flourish or whatever. Okay. So let's go ahead and see where we could be. Okay. Now, vast and finish. And okay, so again, cultivated the ground. Okay. Created. Okay. Now no shrub of the field had yet appeared on the earth. So again, what are we talking about when we talk about these little shrubs that we see here? I don't know. I'm just looking. Okay. And nor had any plant of the field sprouted. Again, now they're there. Okay. Had not sent it to rain. Again, we're talking about rain, and no matter what they have here, in my eyes, we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody reigning like a king or whatever. Okay. Upon the earth, and there was no man to cultivate the ground. But springs, offsprings, is what we're probably talking about, welled up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. So now they sprouted up all these different places by moving around and watered the whole surface of the ground. So now all are mingling. They've gotten everybody cultivated. And okay, let's even just see what it actually means. So primitive, again, when we're looking at Aboriginal, we're talking about let's go back to the writings because we're way off right now. Okay, so when we're talking about primitive stocks of mankind, okay, now these will be the oldest ones that have been residing next to man in order to mingle with man from the beginning, okay, maybe their beginning or even before they came, okay. So let's see, heaven and earth, okay, field sprouted, and then the Lord God. Okay, this is not God from the first chapter. This is the Lord God from the second chapter. Had not sent it to rain upon the earth. Again, what were we just talking about on this in this book about the citizenship? That's what we're talking about right there. When you got into the citizenship, this is when you lost when they misled you into wanting to be a citizen. This is when you lost your rights, I think. Okay. Then the Lord God formed a man of the dust and breathed into his nostril. Again, when we're talking about breathing into his nostrils, he became a living being. Well, if black people are dead by law, what are we talking about? Are we talking about all the people that they brought here, the people that are attached to that pyramid structure, that are, again, over the people of the earth, the originals, the first, okay? All right, so let's see. To cultivate it and keep it, okay? So let's just keep on going with our terms here so we can move on.